God, this episode was so good. Canada's Drag Race continues to innovate in the most interesting way possible. Hi, hello everyone, my name is Jer, and I'm not just sexy, I'm also depressed. Today we are talking about episode 3 of season 6 of Canada's Drag Race. We are now 3 out of 3 for Canada's Drag Race of banger episodes. The season started, I loved the cast, I loved the vibe, I was enjoying everything that I was seeing so far, and it only keeps getting better each episode. The drama keeps getting better. This week there was a lot of build-up of interpersonal relationships in the room, and I fear that the Jenga tower of strategy has completely fallen. The premise of this episode is a two-parter. The most dreaded challenges of the season, the design challenge and the Snatch Game, where the contestants get to choose one or the other. Kind of a genius plan, no? Allow them to choose what they think they would be the best at, and then cut out all of the middleman of nonsense we usually get from Snatch Game, where there are the walkthroughs and then the discussion of who they're gonna play and all of the drama of, oh, I don't know, can you make them funny? Or there's the filler fluff parts of the design episode where they have to choose the fabrics and they're stressing that they don't know how to use a glue gun even though we're on the 90th season of Drag Race. And there's all of this pork that's built into the episodes, but this one just cuts straight to the meat and potatoes. And I'm kind of here for that. This is very different for Drag Race. We have quite literally never seen something to this level before, where two big challenges, they get to choose one or the other. I would live for an entire All-Stars season in this format. Imagine, week 1 starts. You can either do a talent show or a design challenge. Choose your own adventure style. Week 2, you can either choose the Snatch Game or an acting challenge. And then they can pack in a lot of content all at once. And it seemed like the production crew didn't take too heavy of a hit. When the queens were on stage for Snatch Game, the other group was with them rather than in the workroom. So it didn't seem like the camera crew was strained having to be in 2 places at once. So it doesn't seem like this would be that difficult to accomplish in maybe a broader format like an All-Stars. Speaking of production, last week, Paolo probably pulled the cord on the entire electrical grid, shutting it down for hours, pausing production. So we get something kind of different this week where we see the queens enter in the next day, read the mirror message, and have their reactionary thoughts. And I'm noticing that the interpersonal relationships this season kind of all over the board. This group of queens came in with the most connections to each other. A lot of people saying, oh, I know them, I know her, we've worked together, we're best friends. These two hate each other. And what's interesting about that is that Canada's Drag Race, more than any franchise globally, is absolutely heavy focused on the social game, specifically because of the Golden Beaver, where your relationships with others in the room may determine why you get to stay or why you're gonna lip sync for your life. And so seeing relationships break down and fall apart this week was fascinating to watch. I think all the chaos came to a head as this episode resolved. We see some friction with Hazel and PM. And this is not the first perceived slight this episode. There are so many of them. And for me, someone who kind of likes mess, I was here for the drama. Things were very different this week for the Choose Your Own Adventure portion. The advantage of who gets to choose first goes to the lip sync winner from last week, Sammy. Typically, on Drag Race, we see that whoever won the last challenge is the one who gets an advantage in the mini or in the maxi, depending on what's happening that day. And it's interesting to me that so far we've seen little more of that assistance being given to the person who was low the week prior. Hell, even in week 2, Van Gogh had no advantage in the main challenge. Typically, we would have seen something like that. When it's time for Hazel to choose who goes next, PM is in the lineup like, it's in the bag for me, only for Hazel to choose Van Gogh. This gagged PM, and it would gag me too if my friend didn't choose me. In a situation like Drag Race where everything is a pressure cooker, you need to rely on your relationships to help get through the competition. And if someone I thought respected me didn't give me something in that moment, I would think, oh, so you hate me. You want me to fail. Because I know how I am in a competition setting. Everything goes to the extreme. So I can only imagine how this felt in the moment. I'm sure that there was no bad blood or no ill intent, but it can feel really bad in the heat of the moment. And Maya is the very last to be picked. And I think this has a lot to do with the fact that Maya's been kind of fading in the background. As of the last 2 weeks, I kind of forgot they were there. When Maya showed up on screen, I thought, who is that? That has a lot to do with the edit because they haven't been featured too much, but also it has to do with what they're giving to the camera. When they're on the runway, they not super bombastic. In the last 2 challenges, they've been kind of muted. Last week, I kind of forgot Maya was there, but I think that being chosen last lit a fire under her ass, and she realized, I gotta pick it up because they're not noticing me. If I do not appear this week, it's curtains for me. And oh boy, did she wake up. I want to talk about 2 agents of chaos this week. Ebony, who is making alliances with everybody in the room. Hey Diva, we should be friends and form a team, and we won't eliminate each other, right? Hey, so I want to form an alliance with you because I'm trying to get this person out. Do you want to join me? I kind of low-key accidentally created an alliance with everybody. This bitch is so effortlessly iconic. Oh, I'm living. Ebony was chaos this week in the best way. Maybe not the best strategy, but it was funny. And then Van Gogh was also creating very subtle chaos. I need to see more of what is going to happen from both of them. So for part 1 of the Maxi Challenge, we get the Snatch Game, where Pythia and Isis are both there as their former Snatch Game characters. I'm glad that we got 2 characters playing in the Snatch Game. Somehow that's almost more fun than a regular Snatch Game where it would just be Pythia and Isis, maybe out of drag. So let's talk about each one of these contestants. We've got Caramilk as Flava Flav, and they did a lot of flashback references to Shea Coulee in All Stars 5. Shea's performance as this character was iconic and memorable. I love Caramilk. I did not love this performance. My thing was, I felt like every answer was afraid to be bold. It was afraid to do what Shea did. It was restrained in a way that was almost uncomfortable to watch. But I love this girl and I really want her to go to top 4. As much as I am blinded by stan energy, I get why she was bottom 2. Because each group had a winner and a bottom 2, which I think was a great way of formatting this. Velma/Johnny is playing Justin Trudeau. I gotta say that the look was so insane. It was uncanny in a way. I loved his swag. I think he had this saucy, sexy energy about him that was maybe a little more Gavin Newsom than it was Justin Trudeau. I fear that Velma got lost with this character. Maybe whatever direction they originally wanted to, it kind of just kept veering off and going in different paths, and it just didn't really go anywhere. Saltina Shaker is Albert Einstein. I want to give a lot of props to Saltina for a couple different things in the Snatch Game. What happens oftentimes is someone goes in with a specific POV. They're going to play their character XYZ. As the Snatch Game goes, those jokes are not funny, and it is impossible for the contestant to pivot and find a new avenue to drive in and try and make their character work. We've seen so many times, and I always reference Jaden Dior Fierce, who got stuck on the vision thing. That got a laugh, did it again, it did not get a laugh, and just kept doing it. There are people like Love Masisi, slave to the rhythm, and they can't stop doing their vocal stim or whatever they practiced. Saltina did a great job with driving her character in different directions, finding jokes that worked, finding points of view in the humor that worked, and I really liked the various ways that she tried to make Albert Einstein funny. It didn't stay stale, it was constantly adjusting. That being said, it was a little multiple personality. There were so many different styles of comedy that were happening. It never stayed in one POV, so I think that kept them from the win. Sammy was playing Marjorie Taylor Greene, the bleached blonde, bad built butch body queen. Starting out by saying I'm so happy to be here in the 51st state was incredibly hilarious and topical. I loved the villainous white people lips. I saw some insane comment that Sammy should have been bottom 2. I don't know if any of y'all agree with that, but that take is insanity to me because I think that Sammy was genuinely hilarious and stood up well next to Maya, who was quite literally taking the reins of Snatch Game and driving it. Speaking of which, Maya was playing Teresa Caputo. They went through a lot of leaps to talk about the fact that Caramilk was playing an already done Snatch Game character while completely ignoring Jeremy. They could have at least referenced that she's been done before. Maybe Drag Race et al. Has some type of blacklist where certain queens are not to be mentioned in any capacity, but I do think it's important for the purpose of this video to mention that Teresa Caputo was already done in All Stars 2, and it was fine. Starting out the Snatch Game by Maya stating that Marjorie Taylor Greene looked like she got done up by Melinda Verga. Ugh. Melinda Verga was watching somewhere like, now why am I in this? I truly feel like Melinda Verga is the Dovima of Canada's Drag Race. The look was impeccable with that smoky eye, the teased hair, the voice was great. Maya woke up today and served so hard and fiercely. I think she knew that her time was running out if she did not present quickly, and boy did she take her opportunity. Maya was the only one who could choose whatever she wanted to do, either the Snatch Game or design. She chose Snatch Game, which is a bold move and paid off well. And Ebony was playing Keke Palmer. Baby, that's Keke Palmer. I thought she had really fun energy. What I appreciated is that she had Keke's cadence down. That very specific way that Keke Palmer talks. In a normal situation, I think this would have been a very safe performance because it certainly wasn't bad. I don't think it was in-your-face bombastic either, but I don't think that's Keke Palmer. I think overall, this was a very decent Snatch Game. So then for part 2, we move towards the runway where Brooke looked immaculate again. I love that big sculpted hair with the Chiara Francini headpiece. This costume was so voluminous and yet form-fitting. Brooke just has a great styling team and a great designer. The runway category for part 2 is Scene Stealer. I was cackling at the fact that the other group of queens had to be there in their Snatch Game costumes. Girl, why was that so funny? I was expecting them to do some kind of look or some kind of runway. I think this is the first time ever in Drag Race where half of the cast did not do a runway category. And I don't think I'm mad at that. Dulce is out first. Yikes. I do want to say a few kind words about Dulce before I say too much. A few kind words. I think Cobalt looks beautiful on her. The cut of this dress is way too simple to fly in a design challenge. Where it sculpts right here on the arm into the back was such a strange shape. I don't think that cut is very scene stealing. It kind of looked like very first dress. The silver trim was really nice on this dress. I will give it that. I think the hair was nice. I did not care for that draped lace shawl moment. The look absolutely lacks boldness for a category called Scene Stealer, so this was bottom 2 for me. Stardoll is next in magenta, and I love that hair on her. I think the color of this dress is exquisite on her skin tone. I think these stars could easily read tacky, but I think she looked quite good. I liked the sculpt of that awning rod. I don't know what that's called. I definitely think that this was a oh wow type of a moment. Once I started looking at all the details, I could see some of the problems, but at least it took a risk. And I respond well to a risk, even if it's not executed perfectly. In my opinion, she did not deserve to be in the bottom, oh but at all. The one thing I despised was that dangly draped piece of fabric along the back. Was that just there to counterweight the dress or something? I don't know. Her being in the bottom because she ignored the advice of Isis, I thought was kind of passive aggressive. That might not have been the sole reason why she was there, but it was annoying to me. If you ask for help in anything and someone gives you advice on how you could adjust whatever you're doing, if you choose to ignore that, that's your decision. It's your garment that you are going to wear. She wasn't making this for Isis or Pythia or Brooke or anybody else to wear. This was her dress. So if Isis thought, well, you could do this to it, and then she chooses not to, that's her choice. That's her style if she wants to do that. So I just felt like that was kind of a passive-aggressive reason to put her in the bottom. Van Gogh is next. Okay, Van, I know you're watching. F off for this look. Holy shit. This is an entire gag moment. This is perfection. And this shut down the runway fiercely. To me, this was very Cruella meets Miranda Priestley. There was even beaded trim, which is such incredible attention to detail. That hat with the feathers is phenomenal. The construction of that cat suit was so beautiful and such an interesting design choice. And that bodycon dress was so sleek and sexy. Ooh, this was a fashion moment. Huge, gigantic fashion bone for this. You can't shut it down like that. It's so disrespectful to everyone in that room. Van knows that she ate though. Next is PM. Oh, PM. Oh, this is so sad. I don't want to look at it or talk about it. Cherry red looks beautiful on them. This somehow feels very within their style. It looks a lot like that very first outfit that we saw on the runway, that bug clown creature. I'm not a fan of the Teletubby headpiece. It's a little flaccid to me. That black band was an atrocious choice. I can only imagine that there was something else that was supposed to be there and then that failed so the black band showed up. When Carson asked, did you take sewing lessons before you came here? And PM said, yeah, I learned how to sew. And Carson was just like, oh, if Carson could have loaded PM into a cannon and shot them out of the Drag Race soundstage within seconds, I just know that PM would be flying in the air. What I will say on a positive is I do think that this gives a non-binary type of aesthetic. I like that it doesn't commit fully to the masculine or the feminine. A lot of what we've seen from PM so far, it's bad, that's all. And Hazel is last. I was getting a mix of concepts. There's almost an athleisure vibe to this, but then there is something ballerina with the way that the lace goes up and down the arms and the legs. Even the styling of the hair, this is very Project Runway athleisure challenge, but make it nighttime. I don't hate the diamond breast cutout. Those shapes are mirrored within the lace. The dress was very clearly inspired by this diamond shape, but beyond that, it doesn't go really anywhere. I don't think it's bad at all. I think this could have been a super cute mod dress. Maybe taken that lace concept and changed that to almost a lattice over the dress, and that could have been really bold and interesting. I don't think that anyone could have beat Van Gogh, but that's beyond the point. Someone also said on the internet that Hazel should have been bottom 2, and that is also Delulu as hell. They were two very clear winners for me, and the judges thought the exact same thing. Maya for the Snatch Game, and Van Gogh for design. This makes Van Gogh's second win, which is so crazy to see. I am very happy for them. And for Maya, I was especially happy because she's been fading into the background so much, and this was her opportunity to wake up. My hope is that this is not like a Cynthia Kiss moment where you win a major challenge and then go home immediately the next week, because that would feel so bad. Velma and Caramilk are called as the bottom for Snatch Game, and Stardoll and PM are called as the bottom for their group. There are 2 beavers that play this week, one for each team, and of that, 2 people will lip sync. What a fantastic twist. Like, what the hell? This took me out. I mentioned earlier that the social structure Jenga tower kind of fell apart quickly. This alliance that Ebony made with Velma quickly revealed itself to be hollow. And Van Gogh making a not alliance at the very beginning of the competition with Hazel and with Star, and immediately breaking that, I think put cards on the table that Van Gogh is playing a very specific strategic and social game. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing a game a specific way. I just worry that too many cards were revealed at once. And so the strategic game going forward is now going to be rifling through all of the chaos that was created from this episode of people maybe realizing that Ebony is not having full alliances with everybody, that Van Gogh's alliances might also be hollow, and now the 2 of them are probably going to rally together harder and be them against the workroom. But what I also see is that little seeds of doubt are being planted around the room. So now they might all mistrust everybody. Well, I can't trust this person that I've had an alliance with since week 1. So can I trust them too? And maybe others thinking, wait, Ebony told me this, but now I'm hearing that. Are they lying or is she? There could be so much juicy drama that results from all of this. And me being messy, I'm here for it. The 2 that are saved with the beavers are Velma and PM. I really like Stardoll, so I wanted to see her go forward another week, but I'm also not terribly upset that PM got another chance because they didn't get to choose what they wanted to do, and they seemed pretty devoted that they did not get to do Snatch Game. So that means it's Caramilk versus Stardoll, which upset me because I don't want to see either one of them go home. I love this cast a lot. And the lip sync song is a Carly Rae Jepsen song, which had me standing up and screaming. The song is Tonight I'm Getting Over You. Let's go, Joan. I love me some Carly, and I really want a Carly Rae Jepsen lip sync smackdown where it's like 8 or 9 Carly songs. That would work me out. And I will have all of you know that I am in the top 0.3% of Carly Rae Jepsen listeners on YouTube. So I was extremely invested in this lip sync. I will say, I don't know if Tonight I'm Getting Over You is the best lip sync song. I probably would have chosen Higher from the Dedicated album. I think Roses is kind of a banger for a lip sync song. Party for One is a banger, and it's about masturbation. But this was fun. Caramilk wins the lip sync, which thank God, because she is my diva who I also pinned as being top 4. And Stardoll has a massive breakdown on the stage. And for the first time in probably ever on Drag Race, we see the host get up out of the panel to go onto the stage to comfort the contestant. Seeing that moment where she says, "Brooke, why me?" was so devastating and hurt my heart. But I loved seeing Brooke be so compassionate and right there in that moment seeing, Star needs this. This is not the end of your career. This is one moment and you will grow from this and move past it. That being said, I cannot wait for Stardoll to come back for another Slation Royale and absolutely dominate to the end. And it's gonna be her and Aurora Matrix representing Canada, and I'm so ready. Her leaving yelling, "Please, I'm a star!" Oh, was so good. And next week is the reading battles that we saw in Canada versus the World Season 2. I don't know about this, y'all. I had a lot of mechanical issues with this challenge the first time around. I did not like that each team had a top and a bottom because there were groups like Kennedy and Alexis who were so good together and both should have been in the top. And so I felt like Alexis received an unjust bottom placement, and I don't want to see that happen here. I hope there are some adjustments that are made on that end. And I was kind of hoping for the lip sync slay off at this point, but maybe they'll hold off on that for a few weeks. I need the lip sync slay off to happen. What did y'all think about this episode? In my opinion, this episode was refined chaos, and I loved it. 3 for 3, y'all. Canada's Drag Race Season 6 is a renaissance for this franchise, and I am so glad that people are finally realizing how banger this entire franchise is. Make sure to check out the Extravaganza Extra membership if you want to watch some of my posted content a little earlier than everyone else. It helps support the channel and me. It helps me continue creating full-time. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see y'all on the flip.